What is going down, faithful? It's Tuesday, and it's time to dive into all the fun off-season topics we are going to be talking about. Who stays and who goes for the San Francisco 49ers in free agency. And there are a lot of 49er free agents that we're going to have to discuss and try to figure out and get to the bottom of if they are staying or if they're going. Also, a lot of other fun drama stuff to talk about in the off season. We got AJ Brown chirping. No, we got a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to get into it all right now, but you already know what to do. Drop an SDS in the chat, smash that like button, and let's get the off season content cooking. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see it. Shout out all the SDS. What is going down? Frick them birds, 100%. Right before I popped on here, too, AJ Brown tweeting at Juju Smith-Schuster. I thought it was only 49ers receivers who would talk after a loss. I thought, what did Quez Watkins say? What did Eagles wide receiver Quez Watkins say? Did he say something like, hold this L and STFU? Huh. But, apparently that doesn't count after you fall on the sword, baby. Oh, boy. I can't wait for Eagles 49ers. This matchup is going to be fantastic, and we can talk a little bit more about what AJ Brown said. Because it's pretty hilarious, especially the context with all the talk back and forth with Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel, now AJ Brown. You got Juju chirping. Oh man, it's good. I don't know if you guys have seen it yet, but it's going to be a good. It's going to be fun. So we'll talk about that for a little bit. But again, the main purpose of today's show, we're going to really dive into the list of 49ers free agents. We're going to go one by one and discuss who we think should stay, who we think will stay, and who will go and should go. And then that is going to set the bar and the tone for the rest of our offseason talk as we start to look at free agents and we start to dive into draft season, baby. Draft season's here. It is here. So we're going to get into all that good stuff. But of course, got to shout out the SDS first. Good to see you guys. And again, because why not? I think 49er fans have gotten a lot of enjoyment kind of out of the Eagles' pain and suffering because let's face it, they did a lot of talking. A lot of their fans came after 49er fans, came after the players, all that type of stuff. So let's indulge a little bit, shall we, before we get into our main topic here. If you guys just missed it, this happened just as I was popping on. So 10 minutes ago, AJ Brown tweeted this. First of all, if you didn't see the original tweet, that's James Bradberry. Again, remember Deebo Samuel called him trash. Remember that guy? So that's James Bradberry. He's also going to be infamous now for holding Juju Smith-Schuster in that big moment of the game. That really solidified the Chiefs' win over the Eagles. He posted, you can see, this is a tweet from Juju Smith-Schuster. He said, "Happy Valentine's Day, everybody." And he said, "I'll hold you when it matters most." Got him. So, of course, beautiful. I mean, when you talk about trolling someone, like this is chef's kiss. Like when it comes to internet savageness, if I had to give this a rating as an internet expert, 10 out of 10. Beautiful. Congratulations, Juju. You won the internet for today. So not only did Juju Smith just absolutely obliterate James Bradberry, with this hilarious because again, happy Valentine's Day to you guys. It's Valentine's Day. I'll hold you what it matters most. With a picture of James Bradbury. Oh, good job, Juju. Take a bow. But right as I'm hopping on, we get the response from AJ Brown. Oh, I was told for the last 2 weeks, sit down, hold your L, don't say nothing, let these birds squawk, and don't say anything. That's what I was told. I was also told bad sportsmanship, right? We heard that a lot from Eagles players directly. Well, AJ Brown says, first off, congratulations. BS. BS meter through the roof. Y'all deserve it. BS. I can taste the salt. And there it is. This is lame. You was on the way out the league before Mahomes resurrected your career on your 1-year deal, TikTok boy. Highlight TikTok boy. He admitted that he grabbed you, but don't act like you're like that or ever was. But congratulations again. The salt. I can taste it. I can taste it. You know, I don't know if you guys have ever had like a salty burger before, but like after halfway through a salty burger, your lips start puffing up a little bit because you're like, damn, they put a ton of sodium in here. Like there's so much sodium in here. Your lips start kind of swelling up a little bit. Like when I first started eating In-N-Out Burger, I had to ask for no salt because I would eat it and my lips would start to like I don't know what it was, but like that's what goes into my brain when I think and read this tweet. It's like there's so much salt. So much salt. And I thought that was only 49ers players. At least that's what I was told by Eagles fans. But I guess in the words, if I had to quote Quez Watkins, who had a massive drop in the Super Bowl, his really only opportunity to make a really good play, dropped it. Quez Watkins said, quote, hold the L. And he said, what did he say? Hold the L and STFU. So listen, we're petty here. It's the off season. So I thought that was funny. I had no intentions of talking about that at all coming into this because we are going to talk about San Francisco 49ers. We're going to talk about the roster and we're going to get into all that good stuff. But I'm still salty. I'm still petty about that loss and all these Eagles fans, man. So good riddance. And I'll say this, man. I like AJ. I like AJ Brown. Nothing wrong with AJ Brown. He's a great wide receiver. Good player. But the whole situation, the whole context, it's pretty funny. Yes, they can come sit on the couch next to us. After all that talking, that's what makes it so sweet. We're just like smirking at them, like, come join us. They're so salty about it, but I love it. Before we hopped on here as well, we had some NFL news. I don't know if this pertains to the San Francisco 49ers. You guys tell me if it does. That the Raiders have released Derek Carr. He is officially a free agent. Now, I got to update the quarterback. Chart. The quarterback chart is pretty out of date. But do I need to update it with Derek Carr? Do I need to update it with a big laundry list of additional free agents? What do you guys think? Does Does Derek Carr enter the San Francisco 49ers radar, or is he still going to get the bag from, let's say, the Saints or someone else? Um, I'm interested to see what you guys think about that particular thought process, because I know I've been told that I've got to add Derek Carr to the list. I've got to X out. I got to put the big X right here. We know Jimmy Garoppolo's not coming back. Right now it's Brock Purdy. Right now it's Trey Lance. But I could add like 17 quarterbacks to this list. Do I add Derek Carr to it? So far, the chat is saying no. And you know what? I'm going to have to agree with you guys. Listen, I liked Derek Carr coming out of Fresno State. I'm going to be 100% honest. I really did. I thought he went in the second round just because his brother. We know his brother, David Carr. David Carr was a quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers at one point. One of the memories that is like burned into my brain, I think it was Troy Smith. It was like Sean Hill, or it was like Troy Smith was the quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. And of course, if those are your quarterbacks for the San Francisco 49ers, guess what? San Francisco 49ers sucked, right? So I just remember the whole, like all of Candlestick shouting, "We want David Carr." And I just remember like, wow, this is the lowest point in my fandom, is an entire stadium chanting they wanted the backup David Carr. That's how I knew we were in a bad spot. We were in a really bad spot. But I did like Derek Carr coming out. I think Derek would have been a better quarterback if he went to any other franchise that wasn't the Oakland Raiders. The Oakland Raiders do a phenomenal job of ruining talent. And especially at the quarterback position. Derek, like, he was getting up to that point where he was pretty good, but after he got the injury, he's never been the same. So, although I think Derek Carr is probably a top 20 quarterback, probably can make the case he's a top 15 quarterback, I don't think the 49ers need him. I don't think they should touch him. And they should let Derek go wherever. If he wants to go to the Saints, go on, buddy. Go on. Enjoy. Sloppy says David Carr is a Super Bowl winner, by the way. So is Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he's the only two-time winner in the league right now. I think he's no, that's a lie. That's a lie. Because the Chiefs just won. So that's not the case anymore. But I think at one point when Tom Brady retired and prior to the Super Bowl, Jimmy Garoppolo had a little run there where he was the only quarterback, I think, in the NFL that had 2 Super Bowl wins. Now Mahomes, you can add to the list. But yes, this quarterback chart needs to be updated. We're going to X out Aaron Rodgers. But it is going to be interesting to see what the 49ers do at the quarterback position. So it does feel like we are all out on Derek Carr. And I think that's a safe bet. That also, I think the 49ers are out on Derek Carr. I don't think they're going to go kicking the tires on good old Derek Carr. And he will still get paid. I still think Derek Carr gets paid. We understand quarterbacks don't grow on trees in this league. Whatever the perception may be, Derek Carr is still top 20, top 15 quarterback, and that's going to get him paid just like Jimmy Garoppolo is going to get paid by someone, not the 49ers, though. So we're slowly creeping towards our offseason conversation of what are the 49ers going to do in free agency? Do they? And so again, we're slow stepping into the offseason. The offseason is going to last a while. So this is going to be our first crack as a group to kind of identify who stays, who goes. I start to rank needs in the draft, rank needs in free agency, and we're going to do our best to do our John Lynch. And if this is your first time around me, my ginger beard, or the SF Niners channel, we love the draft. We love the offseason. And if it were up to me, I think if you look back at my history and my track record, your boy would have put together some phenomenal teams. Not everything is a hit. Not everything. All right. I missed on Donovan West last year, admittedly. But for every miss, I got like 10 hits. So we're going to cook. And I promise you, we're going to have some fun with it. And we're going to do our best John Lynch impersonation. We're going to build out this roster and see what's cooking. As we get into this, let's actually pull up. Oh, Abe Lucas, man. That's one of my favorite hits. That was one of my favorite hits because it was my first time at the NFL Combine. And all the O linemen are like cattle. They're all in their spandex. They're all warming up. And I'm like, who is this guy? And it's Abe Lucas. He looks so angry. And again, when you talk about scouting, right? When you talk about your Brock Purdy's, we can all see the measurable intangibles. It's how do you identify the like intrinsic intangible, like the it factor, right? And so when I saw Abe Lucas, I could sense it. I was in the building, I could sense it. I was like, oh yeah, this guy's a dog. I could tell in warm-ups. No idea who he was. Went in, got into the tape, saw him doing a phenomenal job against Drake Jackson. Oh yeah, this guy's it. So we know a thing or two. We know a thing or two. Kenneth Walker's was one of my favorite running backs in this draft class. Baller. But beside the point, let's take a look at the free agent list and let's dive in and see who should stay and who should go. And we are going to kind of walk through what we think this offseason is going to look like. And this is going to be this channel's first time kind of diving into all this right now. So I'm excited to get into it. And as you can see, we got a big list here. We got a big list, over 25, or we got 25 free agents in some capacity. So, they're not all unrestricted free agents. We got some ERFAs, we got some RFAs. But for the most part, we have potentially a lot of players on the move. So this is going to be wild. Actually, too, for this first one, normally I sit, but I kind of want to elevate a little bit. So let's elevate. Oh, yeah. Oh, I got to stretch out the back. All right, let's go. We're elevating for the first time on the channel. Oh, so much room for activities. All right, let's get into this. We're getting serious here. We gotta really focus up and get into it. All right, let's start at the top. Let's start at the very tippy top. Jimmie Ward. Do we want him back? Let's start with that question. Drop it in the chat. Smash the like button after you drop it in. Do you want Jimmie Ward back? I may need to add the extra light on. Woo! Woo! So far, resounding yes. We want Jimmie Ward back. So I don't think that is much of a debate among San Francisco 49ers fans. Jimmie Ward, over the last couple years, has become a fan favorite. I don't know if you guys saw that live that I did with Jimmie Ward. What was that? 2021 off season, I think it was. Jimmie Ward told me that he took less money. Basically, the Raiders offered him more money to go play safety. He declined that offer to re-sign with the 49ers. So did us a solid there. We heard recently on the live, he effectively lost his job at safety. So he lost his job to Sean Gibson, who was a free agent. So I think we all want Jimmie Ward back. And Jimmie Ward actually fit back into that nickel role really well. He had, I think, 4 interceptions. And he was around the line of scrimmage. And once he got comfortable, I think, playing nickel and understanding what his new role was and understanding he wasn't going back to safety, he started to excel at playing nickel. So I think we want Jimmie Ward back. I would love to have Jimmie Ward back. Again, you can see he's 31 and a half. He's not getting any younger. It's that time, that's that age period, and I'm admittedly an ageist when it comes to building rosters. So you'll start to see this with me. There's nothing against the players, but if I am objectively trying to build a roster, I'm trying to do it from as youthful of a process as possible. I want to get impact players between the ages of 23 and 26. If I can get a majority of my core roster at that age, not only does that bring out their peak benefits now, but it also allows us to grow with them. So I love Jimmie Ward, but I think part of why the San Francisco 49ers are going to let him walk in free agency is partly due to, he's getting up there in age. He'd probably be, he turned 32 in season next year. He's probably looking for his last deal. So, and he wants a multi-year deal. So I think it's just time, unfortunately. Jimmie Ward knows it. He's said it at the beginning of the season. He said it mid-season, and he said it at the end of the season. Jimmie Ward, unfortunately, will not be back with the San Francisco 49ers this year. So we kind of already know that. I think we all want it. We would love to have Jimmie back. But I think when you look at his market value, according to Spotrac, is a great resource for contract numbers and things like that. His market value sitting about 2 years, $15 million. Like I said, I think the 49ers have made it clear that they're looking to go elsewhere at that price. So unfortunately, Jimmie Garoppolo is not going to be, Jimmie Ward won't be back. Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmie G. We heard reports that things were souring a little bit with Jimmy Garoppolo and the San Francisco 49ers. Does he return this year? Is there any chance that Jimmy Garoppolo returns this season? Do you believe that there's actually a chance that Jimmy Garoppolo returns? Do you want Jimmy Garoppolo back? Let me know in the chat. What is it? So far, it does appear that the chat is ready to move on from Jimmie G. Peter put it at 0.01%. This is what I did last year. I truthfully believe there is a 0% chance that Jimmy Garoppolo returns. The only reason why it was a 0.101% chance for me last year was because he was under contract. Like, he was actually under contract. He's not under contract. He's an unrestricted free agent, and a team who needs a quarterback is going to pay him. And it's not going to be the San Francisco 49ers. So for me, shout out Jimmy Garoppolo. I know a lot of people don't like Jimmy Garoppolo, but whether you like him, whether you love him, Jimmy Garoppolo did help us win games. He did help us get to the mountaintop. We didn't go over the mountaintop. He helped us get to 2 NFC championship, actually 3 NFC championship games. But his time has come. For me, I have his percentage chance of returning in the negatives. Like, I don't think it's happening. Even close. And that was before the reports of a potential falling out. So I think that's. You didn't see me just kick myself out of my own live. That did not happen. That was those were mind tricks that happened. I don't know what you guys saw. It may have been Jimmie. Jimmie may have kicked me at that moment. But it definitely wasn't me. I definitely didn't just boot myself out of my own stream. I hit back on the wrong page. It's off season, baby. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, I like the standing thing. So much more room for activities. So I think we all agree, no Jimmy Garoppolo. So right off the bat, 2 up, 2 down. 2 up, 2 down. No Jimmy Ward. All the Himmies are gone. So it doesn't look like Jimmy Garoppolo or Jimmy Ward will be back with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, this next one, I think, is going to be very interesting. If we take a look at the market value set for 49ers defensive end Samson Ebukam, he played on his final year. He is officially an unrestricted free agent. He is 27 years old. He will be 28 when the season begins next year. I'll ask you this question. Do the San Francisco 49ers bring back Samson Ebukam on a multiple year deal? Do you think they bring him back, or does he walk? Does he get money elsewhere? Does he maybe go to the Texans and follow DeMeco Ryans or something like that? What do you guys think for Samson Ebukam? Ebukam has been solid for the San Francisco 49ers. He put up decent production with the team over his time. I think he's been pretty much second in sacks behind Nick Bosa, but I don't think it was ever at anything that was, earth-shattering, right? If we look at last year, 5 sacks, 36 tackles. He had 1 forced fumble. 2021, 4.5 sacks. That kind of feels like Ebukam's kind of like that's where like Samson is going to live. He's going to live in that kind of 5 to 8 sack region. And so what are you willing to spend on that? The market valuation on him is showing 3 years, 23 million, average salary of 7.7. I think the 49ers might let him walk at that. I think they might. Obviously, we need Nick Bosa to sign his extension. But what is good about him signing his extension is that the 49ers should be able to actually open up more cap space this next season because they can kick the cap down the road and basically backload the contract with the cap hit. Then they can restructure and they can do all the Parag Marate stuff. So they'll be able to generate some more money. But I think, considering if you sign him at 28, he'll be 31 when the deal is up. I could see them trying to maybe upgrade the edge spot, upgrade the big end across from Leo, which is what Nick Bosa plays. So this is a tough one because I think Samson has been a great piece. He's been a great part of that rotation. He's got a relentless motor. He makes plays. He's been opportunistic. But I think if the 49ers can do it and they can take this money that they would pay him and try to find a tier above Samson, that would be more ideal for the 49ers defensive line. I think they need to find speed on the opposite. Now, Samson has some speed. He's got first step quickness. He's got moves. But we need a Brian Burns type. Yes, would Brian Burns be fantastic on the opposite side of Nick Bosa? Yes, but is it going to happen? I don't know. Maybe. Maybe not. But I think that's the type of archetype of player that you kind of want to get on the opposite side of Bosa. First step quickness through the roof. 10-yard split through the roof. Short shuttle through the roof. Length. We don't need a prototypical big end, I think, in this defense from Bosa, because Bosa's he's the best of both. He's a Leo and a big end. So if you can get someone with immense length, like we're starting to see defensive ends who played wide receiver in high school and in college, and like they get basically turned into defensive ends because they got length, they've got speed, and they have the body type that can translate. I'm looking at like a 6'5", 6'6", 250-pound speed demon coming off the edge. We'll see. Can Drake Jackson be that? Drake Jackson, I think, has some work to do. He could be that. He's not that yet. He could be, but it's going to take some body transformation. It's going to take more work, and can he do it? 100%. But it is going to be interesting. So, Final, that was a long spiel on Samson, but does Samson stay? Does he go? Drop it in the chat. Quick. Drop it in the chat. Quick. Stay, go. Which one? Drop it in the chat. Let's see what you got. Spam the chat. So far, looks like, according to our little exercise walk. But like we said, we like Samson. It's not because we don't like Samson. But if we are putting our John Lynch cap on, this is the unfortunate time of the year where you got to put your emotions to the side. And we have to start looking at these guys kind of through a lens of assets. We're now in asset territory. All these guys are assets. They all have a value. And we have to determine, is it worth keeping them? Or do we try to upgrade or get younger and cheaper? That's the exercise of the offseason. So it does feel like we are looking to let Samson hit the free agent market. If you can get him back on a steal of a deal, fine. But we can't. I don't think we can pay market value right now for Samson. Loved Samson, loved his time with us. He's a good player, but I think it's time that we let him at least hit the open market and see what he can fetch. If we can get him back for a steal, bring him back for a steal. But I'm not ready to pay him market value. Now, this next one's going to be interesting. We got Emmanuel Moseley, who's an unrestricted free agent. Last year, he was making basically 4.7. He's going to be turning 27. He'll be 27 at the beginning of next year. His market evaluation, according to Spotrac, if it will let me pull it up, doesn't feel like it wants to let me. Cool. It's not going to let me. So based on, but I think we already kind of understand with E-Man because there we go. Thank you, Spotrac. So the market evaluation is actually pretty high. 4 years, 66 milli. That's an average of 16.6. This would have him top 10 paid cornerbacks. But I do think it is important to understand he is coming off an ACL. He should be back by training camp. And I don't know. This feels high to me. This 16 million a year, that feels high. He's worth that, I think. But I don't know, with the injury coming off of ACL and maybe the hometown discount, I think we could get him for a little bit more effective of a price. But regardless, Emmanuel Moseley has been phenomenal. He's gotten better every year that he's been with the 49ers as an undrafted free agent out of Tennessee. He's been great. So and we already had John Lynch openly talk about bringing him back. So at that price, that's, again, this is according to Spotrac. According to Spotrac, 16.6, that's probably a little high. I don't know if I want to pay that. I love E-Man, but again, we're trying to balance books here. We are completely looking at this from a business lens of, okay, how do we keep good players at good prices and keep a balance? We already paid Mooney. So if it came to paying Ward, I don't know if they can at a max evaluation price. But if they can get E-Man at $8 million a year, because if I remember correctly, E-Man signed, what did he sign? Let's look at the deal he's coming off of. So he got almost his whole deal was almost all guaranteed. There was just a little portion of it that wasn't fully guaranteed when he signed his 2-year, $9 million extension. So he was playing on an average salary of 4.6. If we can get E-Man at again, they can do all the funny stuff with the guaranteed. That's above my personal pay grade. But if we're just looking at this from a broad perspective, I mean, jumping from 4.6 to 16.6 off an ACL, that doesn't seem logical. But if we can get E-Man back, let's say facts, do not give E-Man this link. But if we can get E-Man, I'm gonna say 8 to 10. 10 I would say 10 is the high range. I would say 8 is about mid range. Of course, I think he's much more deserving of the 4.6 that he's played on. Let's just say 8 to 10 for the sake of this exercise. Average cost per year 8 to 10 million. Are you bringing E-Man back at that price? Let's see what you think in the chat. Drop it. Are you bringing E-Man back in that range of 8 to 10 per year? Happy birthday, my boy. Happy birthday to you. So first one right off the bat, we got yes. JC says no. Peyton says yes. Johnny says at that price, yes. 16 way too much. I agree. 16 is a little too much right now. Mariah says yes. John says yes. Got another yes. Anthony says no. So we're a little bit more split on this one, but definitely more in the range of yes. So I agree. Bring E-Man back. And I think you can. I think this is going to be the range, honestly. 6 to 8 in that range, 10 being the high side. If you can get them at 6 to 8, we're cooking. We're absolutely cooking. So I agree with that. Hunter says not 10, but 8 or less. That's fair. I think that's fair. Especially with the guy coming off ACL. And you just don't know. Typically, guys coming off ACL, it's not a big deal. But Justin says, E-Man with Mooney, got to do it. I agree. E-Man, Moody, and what we saw from Diamador Lenore, San Francisco 49ers, for once, will be in a really good spot with their cornerbacks. So I'm okay with it. I have a soft spot for E-Man. I know I just said we got to take our emotions out of it, but I got a soft spot for E-Man. I think he's been a consummate professional. I know the 49ers love him. He was at the playoff game against Dallas. He was what do they call it? He pulled the foghorn or whatever at the beginning of the game with Staley. Like, he's a 49er. They want him here. He wants to be here. So I think they'll make it work, is basically what it comes down to. And I don't think it will be 16.6. All right. This one I'm very excited about to get your guys' take on this one. All right. The most polarizing San Francisco 49ers player in the last, probably since Kaepernick, Mike McGlinchey, 28 years old. You guys know how I feel about Mike. I respect Mike. I think he's a great guy. And he played great this year. He had bad moments, a couple bad moments, but the body of work, I'm saying like 95% of what Mike McGlinchey did was above average. But Mike McGlinchey is probably going to get paid, I think, more than this. I think we're looking at Mike McGlinchey in the range of 12 to 15 average per year, which I do think is going to price out Mike McGlinchey. We already have they're already alluding to it. You have Mayoko kind of putting out articles that, well, if we can't afford McGlinchey, McKivitz is the next man up. So if I had to put a percentage on it, I'm like 95% Mike McGlinchey isn't returning, because he's going to get paid from someone who's got a lot of money and they need someone serviceable at tackle. And although 49er fans don't like Mike McGlinchey, he's above average right tackle in this league, and he's going to get paid like that. And I don't think the 49ers are going to match. So, but we got to do the exercise. I already see a lot of you guys talking about it, but let's do it officially. Does Mike McGlinchey walk or does he stay? Drop it in the chat. Let's do it all at once. Make it nice, neat, in order. Does he walk? Does he stay? Which one is it for Mike McGlinchey? I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised again because too, I believe that he's going to get paid, and it's not going to be by the 49ers. And big advocate of getting your money while you can. Oh, we got one stay. Let's go. Look at that. We got one stay out of all the walks, runs, jumps, skips. Yeah, he's going to get paid. So appreciate you, Mike. Everything you brought to the table, but I don't think Mike McGlinchey returns. I think he rides off into the sunset, gets paid millions of dollars, and by the looks of it, most 49er fans won't be too upset with that. I just hope we don't keep that same energy that we had with Mike and transfer it to Colton McKivitz, who will likely take over your starting right tackle position. I imagine they're going to draft, but there's really no one. There's really no one in the draft right now, or excuse me, free agency, that is going to be better than Mike. So we got to kind of rock it out. So no Mike. So out of the first 5 big time free agents, we're keeping E-Man. Azeez Al-Shaair. So I would say if I had to poll you guys, I would probably say that 99% of us want Azeez to come back. So we're not going to ask, do you want him to stay or go? But I think we kind of know that Azeez is gone in free agency. But that's my take. What is your take? Does Azeez Al-Shaair stay? Does he get paid? Or does he get paid elsewhere? Let's say, for example, with the Texans and DeMeco Ryans. I'm a big Azeez guy. I was big on Azeez Al-Shaair heading into his breakout season. Actually, when I interviewed Emmanuel Moseley, that was a question that I asked E-Man in that offseason heading into 21. So when I was talking to Emmanuel Moseley, I asked him, I said, who's a player on the defense that I should keep my eye on? Who's that next guy that is going to step up? And he said, hey, don't sleep on those linebackers, man. He said both Greenlaw and Azeez. And after that, I went back into the tape and I watched Azeez, specifically the last couple games, and you're like, oh, yeah, Azeez is going to ball. So Azeez was like my breakout player heading into that offseason, 2021 offseason. Hat tip Emmanuel Moseley because he basically said, go look out for Azeez. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do that. And Azeez Al-Shaair came out, had that phenomenal season. With Greenlaw hurt the entire year, he's earned the right to be an LB1 in this league, and I think he's going to get that right with DeMeco Ryans, and he's more than deserving. DeMeco is going to need an LB1, and he's got the perfect guy. Azeez Al-Shaair is 25 years old. He's going to get paid, former undrafted free agent, developed by DeMeco Ryans. And he's now going to likely go follow and take care of DeMeco with the Texans. So it's a shame, but shout out Shout out Azeez. I also just got this pin from my guy, 49ers for sale. I don't know if you can see it. It's not that big when I do it like that. Do you guys remember this photo of Azeez choking out Tom Brady? So iconic. Well, I'm gonna miss Azeez, man. Azeez is a legend. He does it the right way. He's a guy that you can look up to. He's going to be a stud, and it's just, again, we're at that point of the year where we can't keep everyone, and it just sucks, man. It just sucks. So appreciate everything that Azeez brought to the table, but unfortunately, I think it is time. I don't sell these. I'll shout out my boy real quick. Dude, I'm telling you, if you don't know about these pins, he sends me all of them. I have probably over 70 pins. These are pins that I just have in arm's reach. Like, you've got, again, these are I've got bunch on hats, on shirts. We got Frank Gore. We've got Bosa planting the flag. Come on, focus up. Focus up. Quick sponsorship announcement from our boy, 49ers for sale. Bowman Willis. You got Kittle. Juice. I mean, the list goes on and on. I don't got a link, but what you can do is you can pause the video and you can take a screenshot of the QR code. 49ers for sale. QR code. My dude's got me dripped out. Since we're shouting the boy out. Just got the Montana yesterday, I think. We got the 40 F and Niners. This is one of the doper ones. I like this one a lot. And who else? BCB. I'm telling you, man, this guy's got me dripped out. Shout out Tommy at 49ers for sale, man. What a legend. Okay, back to what we're talking about. Squirrel. Big time squirrel. And the quality's top notch. They're great. And everyone has them. Go get them. Shout out the plug. But let's get back to it. So far through our list of Jimmie Ward, Jimmy Garoppolo, Samson Ebukam, Moseley, McGlinchey, Azeez, we've only got Moseley coming back. So these are starter, keeping this starter, but starter's pretty much a starter. He was our nickel. He was our base down linebacker when they ran 4-3, and when there was nickel, him and Jimmy Ward would flip. But what are we doing with Robbie Gould? Are we keeping Robbie? Robbie is 40 years old. Are we keeping him? Or do we take one of our millions of 6th and 7th round draft picks and do we draft a kicker? And do we try to get younger and cheaper at the position? So this is the dilemma with Robbie Gould. I think we paid Robbie $14 million guaranteed on his last deal. Remember when Robbie held out? Maybe not. Maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. It says 2 years, 7.2. I remember it being much more than that. "2019, he made 6, 7, 1, and 4. So, yeah, if you do the math, it adds up. But anyways, are we bringing back Robbie on, potentially a couple milli? Or do we go straight cost? This is where I'm at. Shout out Robbie. Robbie is he's more than a kicker. He's loved in the organization. He's a great ambassador of the San Francisco 49ers. He's a great guy, and he's loved by his teammates. But if I want that elite edge guy to put on the other side of Bosa, if I want an elite center, if I want to maybe throw some cash at Jason Kelsey to come over to play center for us for a season, if I want to get a little bougie in free agency, I don't know if I can keep Robbie Gould. I don't, because again, I can draft a kicker 5th round, even 6th round for a fraction of the price. You get younger. So again, this is where my ageism really comes in heavy here. Like, yes, can Robbie Gould kick for probably a couple more years? Probably. But I feel like you can save at that position. And you can find difference makers. You're not always going to find a Justin Tucker, but you can find starting caliber kickers in free agency, undrafted free agents. So it's a tough call. It is, because Robbie has been clutch and he's been a phenomenal part of the organization. And again, this is my thought process. I'm not quite a Ponte with kickers, don't matter, but I'm close. I'm close. And if I'm looking to save money, again, this is where we try to have to take our emotions out of it, of being attached to a player. Robbie's been great. His trash talk with Ramsey has been top tier, and we love that. But if I'm trying to build the most competitive roster possible, I think I might go with the Rook. I think I might. You got Jake Moody coming out. He's a good kicker. If you can get your hands on him in the 6th round, you can save. I feel like you can save there. So that's my take, though. This is an interactive show, so this is going to be an interesting one, in my opinion, to see how the chat is feeling. Do we bring back Robbie Gould, or do we let him walk? Drop it in the chat. Keep or walk? Keep or walk? Which one? Which one is it going to be? I'm curious. I'm very intrigued by this one. Very intrigued. So far, we have Robbie in the playoffs go hand in hand. Not worth the headache. Keep him. He has mattered a bunch of times for us. Hell yes. F them picks, draft a kicker in the 4th round. Now, I don't know if I'd go that far. Keep, bring back, and draft. Interesting. Jason says, tough one. Walk. Keep him. What if we let him walk and not pick up a Kelsey-like player? Would suck. I think they could figure it out. Let him walk unless he takes a hometown discount. Walk. Love him, but way too expensive. So walk. Keep. Oh, so we got some back and forth here. This is what I'm talking about. I like this. Rather keep him and let Ebukam walk. Keep. Walk unless he takes a discount. Hell yes. See, I like this. We're split. We are split on this one. He's never done us wrong. I would say keep him. But Lee says, sorry, Robbie. If there is a guy we want in the market, then we can let Robbie walk, but he is always clutch, which again, I don't disagree. Keep, business-wise, walk. So it's that fine line, right? We're walking a fine line with our kicker here. Walk, just need more help on both sides of the line. Harris says, now I'm pretty undecided. So again, we're walking. This is by far the most divided we have been. Texas Niner says, I like Robbie, but I'm ready for new blood. It hurts, but let him walk. Competition for kicker. Keep. We don't need to be relying on kickers. We need O-line. He can kick it for another season. Bring him back on the staff. Oh, yeah, we can have Coach Robbie for sure. For sure. Jedi says he can kick till he wants to stop. He still makes game-saving tackles in the playoffs. Good point. Ponte would want us to trade up to the 2nd round to take a rookie kicker. Facts. 100%. Robbie can't go. So we got it both ways. If they spend on O-line, let him walk. Keep. Good as gold. Keep him for sure. Keep. So I kind of feel like I'm in the I'm in StreamYard, so I don't know if I can make polls in StreamYard, or I would, but I don't think I can. I think that's only through if I'm streaming through YouTube directly, but I'm not. I'm through a third party. So again, this is where I got to put my John Lynch cap on. I have to put my emotions to the side. I do like Robbie. I think Robbie's been great. I didn't love when he held out, but I got over it. And Robbie has been clutch for us in a lot of moments, and especially in big-time moments, which is what we need kickers for. But I see that 40-year-old age, and I don't know the price tag. But if the price tag is going to be top 5, if he's going to get top 5 money for kickers at the age of 40, I think I got to walk. That's my perspective. You don't have to share that same perspective as me. But if I'm looking at it and I'm being Brad the ageist and I want to get younger and cheaper, and I think I can identify someone again. You also don't just do this to get younger and cheaper. You got to feel confident that you can at least target someone to come in and do just as good of a job. Like, so it's not like if they're looking and there's like no kickers and there's no market and they're just like, oh gosh, this is a bad year for kickers. Maybe they strike a 1-year deal. Those are part of it's not a cut and dry situation. But for me, theoretically speaking, if he's 40, about to get paid as a top 5 kicker for multiple year deal, I gotta walk on it. I gotta walk. He's, but we'll see. We'll see. Because again, I'm looking to allocate funds elsewhere. And I feel like I can get cheaper and younger at the position. That's kind of where I go. But Robbie's been phenomenal. He's been fantastic. He's been a great 49er. He's been awesome for us. So again, those are my stipulations right now. If he's getting paid for a top 5 as a top 5 kicker to a multi-year deal, I got to let him walk. If he can come back on maybe a 1 year on something that we can rationalize and we can fit into the budget, okay, now we're talking. Then maybe you bring in an undrafted free agent into camp, let them compete, see what it is. But if he's getting top 5 money at the age of 40, I gotta walk on that one. But that's just me. That's just me. I see a lot of you guys want Robbie back, so I understand that for sure. Oh boy. What are we gonna do with Daddy B? What are we gonna do with Daddy B? The legend, the man, the myth, Daddy B. We know Daddy B. If you mess with this channel, you know who Daddy B is. So Daddy B has been a guest twice on this channel. We also maybe got to get Brad and Brunskill's film sessions up, because we talked about that last time. I've actually been thinking about that. Like, what if we get Brunskill back to do some film reviews? Game us up on the O-line a little bit more. But this is the thing. Brunskill is 29. He played on tender last year. So he got about 2.4, like it says. This is going to be like his one and only chance to get any type of bag, outside of signing a 1-year deal. This might be his opportunity right here. And I don't know if it's going to come from the 49ers. I think the 49ers have made it clear that they like him as a utility. And let's face it, Brunskill was huge this year for us. I know Burford got the start, but it was Brunskill who played the majority of the snaps. Brunskill, I'm not afraid to say it. Brunskill was the better guard this year. Out of Burford and Brunskill, it was by far Brunskill was the better guard. Burford has a ton of upside, a ton of promise. He has all the traits, but he's still learning the intricacies of playing offensive line at the NFL level. Brunskill is not. Brunskill is locked up to a T when it comes to technique, what to do and when to do it. With Brunskill, he doesn't have those traits as Burford, so sometimes you can see him get walked back a little bit in pass protection or things like that. But outside of that, you have Brunskill can play all 5 positions on the offensive line. Some team is going to value that. Some team. And I don't know if it's going to be the San Francisco 49ers, which sucks because I love Brunskill. I love what he brings to the table. He absolutely neutralizes what's his name? Who? Oh, Aaron Donald. Every time he plays him, he's undefeated against Aaron Donald. So I want him back, but personally, I think he may go. And if he does go get the bag, young man. Go get paid. I think he's a starting caliber offensive lineman in this league. He has enough tape over the last 3-4 years that a team will give him a check to come potentially be a starting guard on a team. So I don't know. I would keep him. I don't know if the 49ers keep him. What say you? Drop it in the chat. Do the San Francisco 49ers keep Brunskill, or do they let him walk? What do you guys think it's going to be? Because you have to keep in mind, you have Aaron Banks, you have Burford, you still have Colton McKivitz, you have Jalen Moore, Trent Williams. So they have swing tackles. They have, what to perceive to be starting guards. Um, at the position, young, ready to go. What do you think the 49ers do? So far, Chili says they let him walk, keep Brunskill, walk, keep Daddy B, must keep Aaron Donald's daddy, keep, walk, love the dude, but he's the reason Burford is there, which I think is another good point. I think they drafted Burford to fill one of those roles, whether it's Brunskill or whether it's McGlinchey. I think it turned out he fit better at guard. You also have Poe coming up. So again, this is one of those situations where we love what Brunskill's done. I personally have affinity for Brunskill. I see a lot of Brunskill reminds me of me when I was a player, an undersized offensive lineman who could play multiple spots, was quicker than fast, technique driven. That's why I like Brunskill so much, because when you get those things working together, you can beat and neutralize Aaron Donald and those types of things. So I relate. I see myself in Brunskill. No, but in all seriousness, I think, that's why they've been drafting offensive linemen. They've got guys that can come in and effectively try to play his spot. So if I had to guess, if they could get Brunskill back, I'm through the moon. But I do believe they're going to let him test free agency, and they're going to let him, see what he can get. Maybe he comes back, but I don't know. I think he'll get paid by someone. And I don't know if it's going to be the 49ers. Hassan Ridgeway, what do you guys think about that? 28 years old. They got him in free agency last year. Got him on a 1-year deal. He got hurt. Do you guys think they bring back Hassan Ridgeway? He was actually great for the 49ers last year. He filled a really big role and did really, really well. Do you guys think that the San Francisco 49ers bring him back? I think he's a candidate to return. I mean, 28 tackles, 14 solo, 1 sack on 28% of the snaps. I mean, and I think that's where the 49ers would see him. They'd see him at about 28 to 33%. They're not looking for Hassan Ridgeway to be an every down or every other down type player. They're looking at him as a base down defensive tackle, run stuffing guy you can probably get for pretty cheap. And he would probably re-sign on a similar deal that you got him last year. So what do you guys say? Do you keep Hassan Ridgeway or let him walk? What do you think? So far, we've got keep, good depth, keep. Ned says meh. Good depth at defensive tackle. Vetman as depth or walk. Keep. Ridgeway's a keeper at current cash. That's what I'm saying. I think if you get him back on that same deal, even if you get him back on a 1 year 1.8, sign me up. I'm all for it. Bring Woodray back. I like him. T.Y. McGill 100%. Performed better than Kinlaw. Hate to say it, that's the truth. He did. He was actually, when Eric Armstead was out, he was the guy on the interior that was really holding it down. So I keep Ridgeway for sure. So looks like we're all on the same page. We got to keep him, especially if you can get him at a value. You get him at a value to play 35% of the snaps, we're cooking. Fits a role on base down. That's what we need. Kerry Hyder, keeper walk. 31 years old, going to be 32. Kerry Hyder offers a bit of a hybrid ability. He can play inside. He can play outside. It was a cool story to get Kerry Hyder back. But I'll be honest. You let me know. Keeper walk. Drop it in the chat. I'm going to let Kerry Hyder walk. I think Hassan Ridgeway is the guy that you want to keep in that scenario. And I think you let Hyder walk. It was a good story to bring him back. But he really didn't even play that much down the stretch. So I'm probably gonna let him walk. You probably get him back for cheap, so they could effectively bring him back, especially if they just they needed someone, they need some bodies. 33% of the snaps, 19 tackles, 1 sack. He played in all 16 games, but I'm probably gonna try to get younger at the position. You've got obviously plays DN, but he played a lot of interior. So you got Kalia Davis, who should be able to show up next year. Drake Jackson. I'm probably going to let Kerry walk, and I'm probably going to try to draft more D tackles 5th, 6th round. I feel like they have a method of finding undersized, athletic defensive tackles in the 5th to 6th round. I'm sticking to that methodology. I'm going back to the well. Just going to try to recreate DJ Jones over and over again if I can. But Kerry Hyder was cool. I feel like I'm going to know what everyone's going to feel about this one. Tyler Kroft, keep or walk. What do you guys say? We're keeping Tyler Kroft. We letting Tyler Kroft go. Drop it in the chat. We don't even have to give a whole lot of. We don't got to give a whole lot of go too long-winded on Tyler Kroft. I thought Tyler Kroft did a pretty decent job this year. He really wasn't anything more than a blocking tight end. But I know we all remember the last play that is going to stick in our brains forever. Yeah, I think we let him walk. So, but I also do believe, and I agree 100% with Jason, is they need to upgrade tight end too. They need to figure that out. For how much they use the tight end two. I mean, the tight end two is like the swing tackle in this offense. You got to find someone young, cheap, good. You got a ton of 5th round picks. You can find a tight end you can find good tight ends in the 4th round. You can find good tight ends in the 5th round. It's time to get younger. It's time to get better and find someone who can supplement that role. And, we saw Charlie Warner grow in 2021 as a blocker when he took over for Ross Dwelly. But I think Charlie still, I don't know. I don't know if he is he feels like more like a tight end 3 to me. I'm more than happy with Charlie Warner at tight end 3. But the tight end 2, also too, we got to be honest with ourselves, especially during this time. George isn't getting any younger, and it would be phenomenal to be able to get a more than serviceable young rookie tight end 2 that can not only fill that role but learn from George. Like learn that like George is a great guy to learn from. He is an accountable leader. He's going to take whoever the tight ends are in his room under his wing, and he is going to do his best to instill the blocking mentality and yard after catch mentality, and that's huge. So go get a young buck and put him in that room with Kittle and let him grow and mature as tight end 2. And when George is ready to go, step into the booth and be a announcer or a wrestler, because we know George is going to have a bright career after football. we can at least have some guy, something with a semblance of George. So, and that's not going to be Tyler. So, it is what it is. Maurice Hurst. Maurice has been dealing with injuries. But to be honest, I would bring him back. I think you get him for even cheaper than this. So you could probably get him on a vet minimum. He tore, I think, his pectoral in training camp. I think Maurice Hurst was going to be a big part of this defensive line rotation. I really do. I really, really do. But he's gotten hurt in back-to-back years. I think they bring him back just for, like, literally on a vet minimum. And they let him compete in camp. That's what I think with Maurice Hurst. But you let me know. What do you guys want? Do you want Maurice Hurst back? I know you guys haven't seen a whole lot from Maurice Hurst because he has been injured. So maybe they just rip the Band-Aid off, let him walk. I personally, if you could get him back on a cheap vet minimum deal, why not? If he can't stay healthy or whatever, just let him go. He's at minimum, he's a camp body. At minimum, camp body. But that's about it. And I think you would be hoping that he could play like one of those rotational roles, 25%, 30% of the snaps. That's like that would be best case scenario. But worst case scenario is camp body. That minimum camp body. And we see if he can come back. Because at one point he was looking really good. So that's what I would do. But if they let him walk, I would understand that as well. This one, I think we're going to feel a certain way about this. Tashaun Gipson. What's the word on Tashaun Gipson? Are we bringing him back? And what are we paying him if we bring him back? My personal take is I think we should bring him back. I think we should bring Tashaun Gipson back, especially with how confident they felt in him, how he played with Talanoa. I'm curious to see what he would ask for because he's already contemplating retirement. But if you can get him back on maybe like a 1-year deal, draft a young safety, because again, they paid George Odom a decent amount of money. I don't know if they're going to give him a George Odom got like 3 years, $10 million. I don't think Tashaun is going to, I don't think they would pay Tashaun that. Not that he's not worth it, but again, you get into the age thing and he's ready to retire. What can we do for 1 year? You know what I mean? What can we do for 1 year? How can we make this work? Where you can still at minimum compete for the starting job. We'll still, I would still draft a young safety and see what they can do. So it looks like the chat, for the most part, wants to keep Tashaun Gipson, and all that stuff. Oh yeah, baby, I'm standing. It's our first show standing. So it's nice though. I got room for activities. I've been standing the whole time. And it's kind of nice. I sit on my behind too much. So now I can stand. It's great. It's fantastic. All right. I feel like we mostly want Tashaun Gipson back. I'm not even going to ask. I'm gonna go ahead and make the executive decision that Josh Johnson will walk. So I'm not even going to ask you guys. I'm just making the executive decision for all of us. Josh Johnson will probably not be here next year. So he likely walks. On to the next, Jordan Willis. This one's going to be interesting. Do we want Jordan Willis back? I think Jordan Willis has been just a quietly solid. He makes plays in big times. He's quiet. He's humble. He's still relatively young. I feel like you try to find a way to keep Jordan Willis. And I think you can get him at a value as well. So I agree with the chat. The chat is all keep on Willis. I agree with you guys. I think we keep Willis. He's been a phenomenal rotational guy. Uh, the locker room loves him. He's quiet. He definitely fills the special teams role. I agree with that. So, ooh, I feel like I'm more Dale. If I'm more the curly headed. I'm more of that. I think I'm more. Don't touch my drum set. I feel like I'm more Dale than anything else. But yes, so I think we all agree. Keep Willis. Tabor Pepper. Are we keeping Tabor Pepper? I don't know anything about keeping long snappers. If you can get Tabor Pepper back for $1 million a year, bring back Tabor Pepper. He hasn't messed up one time. He's normally one of the first down on punt. Keep. Yeah, keep. So I think that was an easy one. Ross Dwelly. Have we seen the end of peanut butter Dwelly time? Has the peanut butter Dwelly run come to an end? Man, I really thought going into 2021 season that Dwelly was going to take this monumental step. I really believed it. And I liked Dwelly as an undrafted free agent. I think he came out of San Diego State. I liked him. I liked what he was able to provide. He could fill in for Juice in a pinch. He was like tight end 2. Remember in 2019, he made that huge 4th down catch in the rain against the Commanders. But I don't know what happened. He fell off. And I really think it all started with the blocking. I don't know. Like that week 5 game against the Arizona Cardinals, you can literally go back on tape and you can pinpoint how the 49ers lost that game because Ross Dwelly missed multiple massive implication type blocks. Trey Lance scores a touchdown if Ross Dwelly is able to just block down on a linebacker to walk in touchdown. That's when Trey Lance actually injured his knee, I think on the next play where he rolled out and got clobbered trying to go for I don't know what happened to Ross, man. I thought Ross was going to be taking a big step forward. I just think, unfortunately, he's got great hands. The blocking, that's what we need from our tight end 2 and our tight end 3s. And I don't know where that went. He had it at one point, but man, I don't know what happened. I was talking like, oh, the 49ers had the best tight end tandem in the league because he was balling in training camp in that 2021 season too, man. He looked jacked. He was catching everything. I was like, oh, it's up. No, it was down. So I don't know. I don't think Dwelly comes back. Jake Brendel. What do we think about Jake Brendel? Jake Brendel was a Pro Bowl alternate this year. Pro Bowl alternate after only getting 3 starts prior to this season. He's 30. He'll probably want a multi-year contract. Do we keep him? Do we let him walk? Do we try to upgrade and get younger, this one I'm a little conflicted by because I wasn't loving Brendel at the beginning of the year, like in training camp, but I like him a lot now. I think he proved to be more than a capable starter. I believe he earned being a Pro Bowl alternate. He did really well, and he plays the position really well. And when he is on assignment, he's kicking ass. And he has the ability to block downfield, get to backer, get to safety. Brendel's been great. And someone that I didn't love at the beginning of the year, he totally won me over. Um, so it's going to be interesting to see what that contract is going to be like. But I think he's deserving of the extension. So Brendel, he's not a power guy, but again, that's part of the payoff with getting like zone offensive linemen, and that's going to be the interesting thing is they went way more gap scheme this year, which you're going to have to dig out defensive tackles a lot more, and so that's going to be interesting. I think they bring back Jake Brendel. It will be fascinating to see if another team offers him more. I think that's where it gets tricky. I think if it's a one horse race with the 49ers and Jake Brendel, I would assume they come to an agreement. Jake Brendel returns. Jake Brendel's the starting center next year, and you keep developing the next guy, whether that's Poe, whether that's Zakel, whether that's my boy out of Old Dominion, Saldivari. You keep drafting, you keep developing, you keep Jake Brendel, you get him at a good price, you get immense value out of that price, then I think absolutely he stays. But if another team is willing to give him the bag, that's where I think it gets shaky. Because I do feel like the 49ers have historically wanted value out of some portions of their O-line. So it's going to be interesting to see. But looking at the chat, mostly looks like keep, some undecided, some will let walk. Regardless, still got to get younger, and I still think you keep drafting centers regardless. What makes this interesting, if Jason Kelce, that's where I start. Like, if Jason Kelce is like, I'll come play center for the 49ers, I'm like, ooh, Jason Kelce is a hell of a center. He's definitely, at his age right now, still one of the best centers in the NFL. So even if it's for 1 year of Jason Kelce, I definitely consider it. Jason Kelce's phenomenal. He pulls. He would be an instant leader right in the middle of that O-line. That would make me feel calmer about losing Mike, about going into to Burford getting his full first year at right guard. You put in Kelce, this is what I'm afraid of. I think if he won, he for sure would have retired. So that's going to be interesting. But Kelce would fit so good in this offense. He'd be perfect. So I'm leaning towards bringing back Brendel 100%. I really am. Because I think the 49ers will be able to get him back on a affordable deal. But Kelce makes me, if he was open to it, I would have that conversation. As a general manager, I would definitely reach out to Kelce and just get a feel. Would you want to come play in San Francisco? We have a high-powered offense where you'd fit in perfectly and we run the ball a lot. See if he'd be interested. So, but I think the most likely outcome is Brendel returns. It's the most likely outcome. Let's kind of get into quick hitters because we got our last unrestricted free agent. Everyone else is either we got a couple more unrestricted free agents. Let's bang through them. We're in the weeds here, people. So if you've been watching this show, this is my first crack at free agency. So again, you guys are starting to kind of, if you've been watching start to finish, one, grab a cookie. Two, you're starting to kind of see my thought processes, how I'm going to start attacking my off season of playing 49ers franchise mode and building out this team from my perspective. Again, and it's our perspective. It gives us that opportunity to kind of have fun with the off season. So I'm spending a lot of time on this because you can see like there's a lot of thought that goes into this. One move affects the next move and vice versa. So we're working, baby. We're working. And so I would say probably our next episode is going to be looking at the free agent class. And then we're draft season. Oh, we're cooking, baby. We're cooking. Appreciate all you guys for watching. Smash that like button if you haven't. We're going long today. But hey, it's off season. We keeping Jason Verrett? Yes, no. We're gonna go quick. Yes, no. Jason Verrett. Walk, keep. Which one? Which one? Jason Verrett. Drop it in the chat. This is a tough one because I love Jason. I love the player. I love I love the talent that he has. Man, I love everything about him. He is a draft crush of mine coming out of TCU. I followed his career with the Chargers. I love Jason Verrett, and I was hyped when we got Jason Verrett. But man, he is just having a hard time. I don't know if he's going to retire. I don't know what's going through his head. If he's going to try to fight back to try to play again, I don't know. Wouldn't put it past him to try to come back. But I feel like I would love Jason Verrett as like a defensive quality control coach that can maybe mold into like a cornerbacks coach. I would love him on the staff. I want Verrett around. I just don't know if it's going to be as a player. And that again, it comes down to unfortunate injuries. That's really what it comes down to. Charles Omenihu. What's the word on Charles Omenihu? Are we bringing back good old Chuck? Is Chuck coming back? 25 years old. Dude was a pressure monster this year. Dude was everywhere. He was all around the ball, always. If he didn't get a sack, he helped force a lot of sacks. He was a big time impact player for this defense. So I could see it in the chat. I think he will command a good value. I think he will, but I think I'm willing to pay that price for Chuck. I don't think it will be cheap. Like if we took that Samson Ebukam deal and we gave that to Omenihu, I would probably feel okay with that. And if we go back and we look at what Omenihu or what the market value for Ebukam was at about 7.7, a 3-year, $23 million deal, maybe guarantee 30% of that. I probably feel I feel good about that. I feel like Omenihu has such good versatility, being able to play inside, being able to play outside. Um, and again, if you can get a speed guy on the opposite edge, you put like Omenihu in the middle on pass rushing situations. I mean, this defense could be freakish with uh Omenihu, Bosa, whether it's Drake Jackson, if he develops even further, or they go out and get some kind of elite edge. I like it. In regards to the legal issues, again, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened at all, but the 49ers felt good enough that he was going to play. And two, I follow him on Instagram, and his girl clearly got him a Valentine's Day present. If you go look at his Instagram, his girlfriend got him some. I think there were some nice J's. And they posted he's posted a couple things with her since said incident. So they seem fine. They're clearly still together. So again, I'm not gonna speculate on something that I don't know, but what I do see is he's posted her a couple times. They clearly are still together, and they're celebrating Valentine's Day together. So, hey, all I can say is sometimes, right, we get into some arguments with our significant others. I don't want to speculate. Hi. I don't want to speculate, but they seem to be fine. And Kyle clearly felt good enough that based on what he found, it was fine. So, hey, as long as everything gets cleared and whatever, then I think we move forward. And if they get to that point where they feel comfortable, then I feel like, again, we can feel comfortable too. So, you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. Yeah, it was just terrible timing. Terrible timing. Tarvarius Moore. What's the word on Tarvarius Moore? I think we let Tarvarius walk. Go outside. What's that? Where you at? Okay, go over there. My little one's been crashing lives like a madman recently. More back if cheap, no more. Walk. So yeah, I agree. Tarvarius just never his former third round pick just never turned into like what they thought he could be. So I think we let Tarvarius go. Colton McKivitz. So these are restricted free agents. So we've gone through all the unrestricted free agents, all restricted free agents. The 49ers still have their rights to. So Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles, I know he's been talked about a lot as a free agent, but he's still a restricted free agent. So let's say D'Amico Ryans puts in so Demetrius can still go to the Texans. He can negotiate a new contract. The Texans can give him a contract, but the 49ers have an opportunity to match the contract. So this is how I see it playing out. With DFF, I think, let's say D'Amico gives him a contract. I would actually imagine that the 49ers wouldn't match. They brought back see, I don't know, man. Azeez is gone. I think we all kind of see Azeez being gone. They re-signed Marcelino McCrary-Ball to a 1-year deal. They could definitely draft another linebacker. They have enough mid-round picks. They can find one of those hybrid guys and plug them in. So it depends on what deal he potentially gets. But if DFF gets a decent-sized deal, I think they let him walk. I think he's gone at that point. But again, he's still a restricted free agent. So he's still technically under team control. So we have that going for us. Kevin Givens, who feels like he's been a San Francisco 49er forever, is a restricted free agent, and I do believe he comes back. I don't know if another team will give him a big-time offer sheet, so I imagine they tender Kevin Givens. Kevin Givens comes back, and we got Givens back next year. Colton McKivitz appears to be the starting tackle of the future. So it looks like McKivitz is going to be the one that's going to step in for Mike McGlinchey. And that's our new right tackle. Now, McKivitz has grown leaps and bounds since getting released 2 years ago. So I think we'll be okay. He's similar to Mike. I think he's a little bit less agile than Mike, and even in pass protection. I mean, I think he's built like a guard, but he's playing tackle, and he's learned the position well, and he's been one of those swing guys. So Colton McKivitz, as of right now, I think is our starting right tackle, assuming McGlinchey signs elsewhere. And then Juwan Jennings is a exclusive rights free agent. He's not going anywhere. He'll sign his tender, and he'll be a 49er for 1 more year. So nothing crazy there. So we did it. Took us about an hour or so to get through all 25 of the free agents. And I've been standing the whole time, so I think I'm now going to sit for the remaining portions of this. And again, shout out to everyone who vibed. Get your cookies as well. We made it. I'm going down. Sugar, we're going down swinging. All right. I like that. Who would get... Oh, that's a good question. Who would get a franchise tag? What was the last time we franchised someone? That's another question. Who would we franchise? If we would franchise, I mean, we're talking maybe Robbie Gould, but I don't like that. They're not going to franchise Azeez. They're not going to franchise Mike. I don't think they would franchise Moseley because they'd be paid top 5 average, which is really high. I don't think they franchise anyone, to be honest, because that means you're paying a guy top 5, average top 5 at the position, and I don't think they do that. Maybe Gould, maybe. If they want him for 1 year, and again, we talked about it, like maybe Gould gets a top 5 contract from someone, but maybe that's who they're thinking of. I don't know. But Someone said do a recap. We could do a quick recap. I'll do a recap of mine because I think, again, we're obviously split in the chat. We don't agree on everything in the chat, and that's okay. So I'll do a quick recap of what my thoughts were. Keep, let, walk, based, and not all decisions are based on what I want. It's also what I think the organization's going to do. So, like Jimmie Ward, I want Jimmie Ward, but I know he's going to walk. Jimmy Garoppolo is going to walk. I think Samson Ebukam walks. I think the 49ers will re-sign Emmanuel Moseley. I think Mike McGlinchey walks. I think Azeez walks. I would let Robbie Gould walk, but I wouldn't be surprised if the franchise re-signs him. I would bring Brunskill back, but I would not be surprised at all if the organization lets him walk. I would bring back Hassan Ridgeway. I'd let Kerry Hyder walk. I'd let Tyler Kroft walk. I would bring back Maurice Hurst on a vet minimum deal. I would bring Tashawn Gibson back on a 1 to 2 year deal that I think is going to be very manageable. No Josh Johnson. Bringing back Jordan Willis. Bringing back Tabor Pepper. No to Ross Dwelly. Bringing back Jake Brendel. The only thing that would keep me from bringing back Jake Brendel is if Jason Kelsey is part of the conversation. But other than that, I think you bring back Jake Brendel. Verrett, we let go. Demetrius Flanagan fouls. TBD. I think it's really TBD, depending on if he gets a deal from someone else. It's going to be interesting to see if they match. And I think the person who would give him a deal would be D'Amico. It'll be interesting to see if that happens. Kevin Givens, similar situation. I think they keep him. Not sure if anyone gives him a contract. Colton McKivitz, think they keep him. Tender him. No Tarvarius Moore. Yes, Charles Omenihu. And Juwan Jennings will be back. So that is my recap for the year. We did it. We made it. Oh, we're working, baby. John Lynch hit my line. If you need any outside consultation, I am available. I'm not available for anything that Parag does. That is not my expertise at all. But if you want me to talk about someone's age and you want me to help you get younger at a position, I'm your guy. We'll figure it out. I had to sit my ass down. I was like, I'm done. Done standing. I stood for like, I'm sweating over here. No, but so I think we got a ways to go. This offseason is going to be an interesting one. Lots of moves to be made. But draft season is kicking up. Got to start getting into the prospects. Got to start getting into the free agency pool. So I think that's what we'll do next is we'll look at the available free agents. And we'll see. We'll see if anyone fits the mold for what the San Francisco 49ers want to do or if they can afford anyone moving forward. But I appreciate you guys as always. Thank you guys for vibing. And of course, shout out to the entire Sourdough squad. You guys are the best. We got our off-season crew. Oh, baby. Get your cookies on the way out. Shout out to all you guys. Did we get over 100 likes at least? I hope so. For me standing for that long, I hope we got over 100 likes. Someone let me know in the chat. At least 100. 110. I'll take it. I'll take it. That's good off-season work. That's good off-season work. Shout out to everyone. Of course, if you're not subbed, what are you doing? Hit that sub button. Shout out to all the SDS. Smash that like button on your way out. The grind starts, baby. The off-season grind is officially here, and we are diving in full steam ahead. We're just getting started. Let's go. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Love to see